Hey there, Goa fans. This is Mark, DJ Solitaire, here with episode 134 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I present in each episode one of my favorite tracks from the Goa Trance psychedelic dance movement of the 1990s. Slight variation today in that I am going to be featuring two tracks by this project because they only made two dance tracks, and I think it's a fabulous collaboration. And I was listening to both, trying to decide which one to feature, and I was like, okay, we might as well do both. So that's what we're going to do. But the set that alerted me to, hey, I haven't featured this yet, is this wonderful Return to the Source compilation, Sacred Sites, that came out actually in the summer of '97. So this is just a little bit before the overall period that I've been covering in the series at this point from autumn of '97 through to the summer of '98. But I have not yet featured this fantastic collaboration between Simon Posford, the hallucinogenius, and Chris Decker of Medicine Drum, who founded Return to the Source. And so I'm going to feature both of their dance tracks. They also have an ambient track, but that won't be featured today. And the one on here is Rites of Ra, and the one that was on the Transient Dawn compilation, which I can't put my hands on. Wonderful one that came out just around the same time. This was like June, July '97. That one is Temple of the Moon. So, Hallucinogen was, of course, playing at all events, is working with all kinds of producers at the time. And Chris Decker was a major figure because he was throwing, the biggest regular ongoing parties in London. There were lots of one-offs that, might have been bigger. There were other regular events that happened less regularly. And Return to the Source was, a monthly event. When I moved to London in September '96, they were taking place at the Fridge in Brixton. And but a lot of they'd had places that they'd had other venues. They ended up at Bagley's. I think they might have started at Bagley's before they were at the Rocket. Um, it was, it was bringing a lot of attention to the Goa trance scene at the time. And there's film footage of the events and at the time. And Chris definitely prioritized the spiritual side of these events and the potential of these events. And they did rituals before the opening. I didn't actually see too many rituals during. There was one occasion at the Brixton Academy where there was, and I think that was just the Earth Dance one. So, but in any case, Return to the Source was a major event. Chris was also part of Medicine Drum. And, of course, majorly, he was the drummer. And we get to hear in this collaboration with Simon Posford his wonderful organic drumming with Simon's synthesized magic. And it's the really beautiful atmosphere. Both of the tracks are, under 140. So they're in the mid 130s range, beautifully evocative. And they've got that melodic quality that, when Simon Posford was doing that kind of stuff, it was just magic, right? Those evocative, otherworldly, mystical, sensual melodies. And it's got, some beautiful aeration, beautiful mood, and so on. So, I knew Chris at this time. So this is actually a copy that he gave me. He lived about a 10-minute bike ride from me in London. So once I started going to Return to the Source events regularly and got to know, I'd met Tsuyoshi by this time and then got to meet the whole crew. Chris and I would hang out fairly regularly and talk about all kinds of stuff, including a lot of the spiritual side of our scene. I'm not 100%. It's an open debate, and I think I'll probably make different videos about this in terms of discussing the different parties and the events that I went to, and looking back, what I think worked, what didn't work. How overt you are with the spiritual side of things at events is open for debate, right? So not everybody's into it. Some people just want to go and they just want to dance. And there could be the spiritual side of that. And the spiritual stuff can be in the background as opposed to in the foreground. And so I know that, some people were not super on board with, the chakra journey or whatever else they were doing. I think it's a brilliant concept. But I loved, what they were doing. I loved the intention and I loved the fact that there was this regularity and it was a place for people to go. They definitely had, top musicians. And, this was the third set. I remember getting the first Return to the Source set in my first year of, exploring the scene. And of course, there's so many great ones, some of which I featured in this series. And so then when the Chakra Journey came out, of course, I was fully on board and I was very excited to go to their events in London. And, it was a great time. This set, I mean, luxurious production. They just started getting better and better, with this really fantastic booklet, all kinds of stuff in there. Interestingly, the first text on feng shui, which I was just starting to explore at the time. And so the Transient album Dawn, which had the Temple of the Moon track that Anubis did, Simon and Chris did together. I can't locate my copy of that. The Rites of Ra is on this one, and we're going to listen to both because they're both just beautiful in their own different ways. Just a little background in terms of, Anubis was an Egyptian god relating to the, protection in the afterlife. Rites of Ra. It's interesting that, Rites of Ra is on here and not Temple of the Moon because, Temple of the Moon would have been a sacred site, but there we go. Temple of the Moon, there's two of them. There's one in Peru and there's one in Mexico, so I'm not sure which it refers to. And Rites of Ra, Ra was an Egyptian god as well. Just a little FYI, I mean, the Egyptian stuff was always really big for me. I was really fascinated by the culture growing up. And Chris got the idea for Earth Dance, having a party taking place around the world at different times, but everybody was unified with the same piece of music at the same time. That idea came to him when he was in the King's Chamber. I think it's the King's Chamber, the big pyramid in Egypt. He got to, if you get the right guide at the right time, they'll let you, go in. And he was meditating in what was, ostensibly officially referred to as a sarcophagus, but it's not. It's like it was a meditation chamber. And the idea came to him in a flash. And so I was living in London when the first Earth Dance took place. And in fact, I wrote the promotional text, which appeared in Dream Creation and the press release that sort of went around. So that's kind of, the Egyptian connection extended beyond these tracks, with that having his actual visit and that meditation being what led to the creation of Earth Dance, which is still happening. So without further ado, why don't we get started listening to these wonderful tracks by Hallucinogen Simon Posford and Medicine Drum Chris Decker and their project Anubis. We will start off with the one from the the Sacred Sites release on Return to the Source, Rites of Ra. Beautiful voice. And she's doing, she's sliding between notes on the keyboard. Gorgeous choral effect. There's sort of interval effect here. And that beautiful chord. Beautiful blend of the natural with the synthesized here, right? The synthesized is in the background, and then fantastic rhythm. And the placement, the engineering of everything is just exquisitely transparent. Then, wonderful, upbeat atmosphere here. Syncopated hi-hats there, very beautifully placed. And you just have that wonderful 8-bar cycle where things get added each round. It's just a natural, organic progression. There we just got that Simon Posford hallucinogen touch that is at the, the peak of this, period where he was just really on fire with Twisted and all of that stuff happening. Those effects. It's a really simple harmonic hook and it just grabs you. And then that voice comes back with that beautiful gating that we all loved, but from Angelic Particles a year or two before this. And again, this interval. Beautiful. Then we get lower. Now we start getting into more synthesized voices. And again, I've talked about this many, many times, how many riffs would sound like voices from another dimension. That's very much the case here. So this mantra-like effect. Just notice that. It's just the frequency that's held at. That's really shakes things up and opens things up. And we get that chorus happening. And get those upper percussive bits from Chris. And there's this kind of anticipation with this particular interval with that riff. Another round. Now we're really getting, very mantra-like. And now there's a great break and then shift. And we really get both musicians at their peak here, right? With, just that one line from each of them. And then that more intense, distorted, otherworldly kind of voice. The texture, something I love with this. We're really getting, hearing that natural voice with its electronic component. Super sensual and beautiful. Percussion drops out. Lets you catch your breath while still and move, whatever the case may be. And then the storytelling is just amazing, right? You notice how you just start getting this new material. There's this whole long flow of the whole story. Notice that more aerated sounds here, which we're going to be hearing in the other track as well. And that evocative, lyrical upper line there. Nice surge there. Just love that that little rise at the top of that riff. Those voices come in again. Long hypnotic process here. Okay, so this was all kind of a long outro. I mean, beautiful. Right. And by this time in 97, there was already starting to be a move away from the more beautiful melodies. Certainly by 98, we were hearing things be really a lot more stripped down. And of course, there's always been some of that more intense and harder music. It's always been part of the scene. But there was definitely starting to be a little bit of a rebellion against this kind of beauty, to be honest. And I still love this stuff. I mean, this is really, it's something that gets you, gets the emotions going. There's other emotions, of course, that can get going from other stuff, and it's all part of the big journey. But I think having this kind of lyrical beauty with those really polished, sleek, elegant sounds, I think it's really, a touch of otherworldly psychedelic class. So why don't we give a listen to the other track, Temple of the Moon. This one came out on Transient Dawn around the same time in the June-July sort of window of 1997. And it's another absolutely stellar collaboration between Simon Posford and Chris Stecker. Here we go, Temple of the Moon. Again, some, tribal sort of samples. Ooh, nice little, just very slightly key shift there in the lower sort of bit. The percussion is a bit different here. Love that synth sound. Notice the rhythm here. This would always happen in the tracks. There's there's this introduction, and there would be this riff that gets introduced, and there's that pattern really triggers something in your consciousness as it gets repeated. So it was like each track was holding some kind of message that was encoded inside these patterns, right? And several patterns, and there's the whole story. That aerated sound, and again, light and floaty and beautiful. So we get different layers of percussion happening here. That more crisp, more pronounced stuff coming from Chris, I'm sure. Definitely some mystical harmonies, and then you get those aerated sort of crisp, sort of almost like, sort of voices going out into cold air, and you see the mist with it. And I love the sliding between tones. And of course, that beautiful gating and patterning. And then the harmonic language here is super evocative. Lots of pitch sliding happening here. Just so fluid and elegant. Just that, just that little rise. Just so, I mean, you know, when morning music was morning music, when you had this kind of beauty in the morning, kick drops out, a little bit more of that percussive stuff, and then kick comes back. Very sneaky and this sinewy kind of line. Notice that there's so many layers. There's some stuff going on in the background there that's almost imperceptible, but you tune in and you hear this kind of drone-like effect that's in the background of all of these gated voices, and then you get this wonderful transformation here. Of course, gorgeous voice, which both Simon and Chris loved. Just that percussive element, very, very gentle. A little bit more texture coming in now with some percussion. Just everything comes in so seamlessly. Feel it building in the background. And we're back. Some fantastic accenting on the offbeats. A little harmonic shift here. Just so many different sounds, and they're all, you know, there's a lot of vibrating going on here, a lot of shimmering. Slightly more granular sound in the mid-range there. Voice kind of a little bit in the background. Getting a bit louder again. Just continually louder, and then we get that. The circularity of this harmonic loop here, really well done. We're gonna have the voice come back as the outro begins. Just fades out. I mean, just beautiful, right? I mean, this is one of the fantastic things about our scene. We have such a range of styles that fit within this umbrella and that fit within a storyline, you know, from sunset through the darkness and then the dawn and then, full daylight and all kinds of different possibilities. And this as a psychedelic possibility, having beauty and, that refinement and both the terrestrial, earthly human and that otherworldly alien kind of beyond our three dimensions component, and having those fused so beautifully. I mean, just really absolutely exquisite stuff. So hats off to Simon Posford and Chris Decker for these two wonderful creations. There's a third track, a down tempo one that's on the Eclipse compilation on Twisted Records. It came out in '98. I think it's called Invocation. Another fantastic one. And at the time that this came out, I remember saying to Chris, I was like, I hope you guys do some more. And he's like, oh, I want to. And, he had plans to, and unfortunately didn't happen. And, thank goodness we have the ones that we do. So I wanted to feature both today because I just can't choose between them. And I think that they're both really a welcome reflection on some of the musical range that we've got available in our scene and some of the beauty that's been created. So, on that note, I will sign off and I'm going to present both tracks one after the other without my commentary. I'm Mark DJ Solitaire, wrapping up episode 134 of Retro Goa Explorations and leaving you now with the two dance tracks by Anubis, Rites of Ra and Temple of the Moon.
And Wow.